candy around here in a second. All right, we are live. So, welcome everyone to another week of 2A Tuesday. This is episode. What's that? Oh, hold on. I did a boo boo and forgot to mute myself. There we go. You'd think one of these weeks I would learn to figure out this hosting thing, but that's not going to happen anytime soon.
It's all right, man. It takes a little while.
Yeah, heck yeah. Well, anybody that's looking for high quality, well produced content they should know by now to stay away from our channel. So
there you go.
So welcome everybody. Real quick here, we've got a few people showing up in the chat already. We've got Freedom for All. We've got Joe Ziola. We've got Jim Burgess on YouTube and in the panel. So welcome everybody there. And I don't know if I've got anybody over on the gun channel side quite yet, but looks like we've got Jim over there. We've got Joe. If you're watching, go ahead and throw a comment in if you're watching on YouTube, because we can see who's joined the room over on the gun channel side, but on the YouTube side, we can't see you unless you talk to us. So so welcome everybody. Go ahead and make those comments, and we will go through the room and kind of let everybody introduce themselves. But before we do that, I know I've alluded to this a few times in some videos that first were describing what 2A Tuesday was going to be about, and I think maybe 7 weeks into this, we'll go over this a little bit more. This is going to be a chat where we're definitely going to talk about anything and everything that could pertain to the Second Amendment. Of course, that's what we're going to do. But also, there's going to be weeks that we don't always get too deep into a 2A topic. It might be something else entirely, and so some of the topics might not always be centered around guns or gun laws or things like that. Just because it says 2A Tuesday doesn't mean this is only a gun platform. So one of the things that we always want to invite from everyone is just some topic ideas, some chats that people want to have. One of these weeks we will get ambitious and or brave and or dumb, and we'll cover the abortion topic a little bit, and I expect that to be a lively discussion when the time comes. But we always welcome opposing viewpoints. Just because you don't agree with us doesn't mean you're not welcome. And so anybody who wants to come and be on either side of a specific topic, I mean, always let us know, and we'll get a few people in here maybe that can have a civilized debate, and just some good discourse, and maybe trade some ideas back and forth. And we might not change anybody's mind. That's not the point, but at least we'll give people a chance to say their piece. So that's some of what we will see, hopefully, in weeks to come. Another thing that we always want to make sure that everybody understands, both in the chat and on the live discussion too with the panel, is I'm not opposed to bad language, but when we're going out live over the YouTubes, over gun channels, I just don't want that kind of talk on my channel. So we always try to keep it clean, not because we're afraid of the bad words. We just want to keep it classy. We don't. I don't want to have the age restriction chat. I don't want to embarrass any of my family members maybe who happen to catch it or watch it, any of my friends. So we'll just keep it classy on here all the time. So we ask everybody over on the written chat also to just keep your comments clean and respectful, and we've got some moderators who will help with that too, and keep the chat clean. So also another thing, it is hard to sometimes be able to host a chat, keep a discussion going, and talk, and then also watch all of the chat, things like that. Yeah, Freedom for All, that's a perfect example of a comment that I'm not going to allow. So let's keep it clean. Just because you put a star in it doesn't mean it's clean. Also, we're not going to use the word anything that ends in T-A-R-D. We're not going to call people use the word, quote unquote, libtard. I don't believe in using anything that ends in that word or those 4 letters, just because it's very disrespectful to people that get called something similar to that don't deserve it. So all right. So we do have the ground rules laid. One of the reasons why I wanted to reiterate keeping it clean, keeping it classy, is just because we have a very special guest here with us, and a lot of you are familiar with who this young lady is. For those of you who don't know, Sandhills Sweetheart is in the panel tonight, and she's my wife. I'm lucky enough to call her Mrs. Me, and so this is going to be one of those nights where we don't always talk necessarily. Everything is not going to be revolving around guns or firearms or the Second Amendment. Some of it will, some of it won't. But we want to give her a chance to get on the chats, and I've asked her every week if she wants to be part of the discussion. She always says no, not really. She does not want to be on the camera, so that's okay. But we want to give her the opportunity to talk. And I said, well, you ever want to talk? Why not? She says, because you talk about stuff I don't always care about, which is fine. So no worries. But so I want to be able to include Sandhills Sweetheart and give her a platform too to discuss things that she wants to talk about. So this night is going to be a little bit of just an introduction, and we'll kind of go around the horn and let everybody kind of talk a little bit. So if you have questions or comments, again, somebody that's here in the panel, go ahead and especially if it's myself or Travis, just put a little @ symbol in front of our name, the way that it shows up over in the chat. Looks like we've got David over there in the chat now too. So those are all anybody who's in the panel. If you put an @ symbol in their name, then it lights it up so we can see the comment, and it helps us see it better. So we've got Travis and a few other people are going to help me spot those two. So that's cool. Real quick here, I see we've already got a question out there. From Freedom for All about having a med card for weed. We can get into that. We'll see if we get some time towards the end of the discussion to throw that out here. So like I said, the first part of this chat for sure is going to be revolving around Sandhills Sweetheart. So we will go ahead and give her a chance to say hello. And she is sitting right next to me, so I'm going to do my best to try to keep myself muted when she comes off of mute, because she's on her own channel here. But we'll try and keep the mute buttons one or the other clicked at all times so we don't get feedback. And if we forget, somebody just call us out and yell at us, and we'll mute one or the other. So go ahead and say hi.
Hi, everybody. It's nice to be here. I've heard a lot about all of you, so it's good to finally be here on one of these chats.
Glad to have you.
Yeah,
all right.
Welcome aboard.
Everything you heard is true.
We will go around the room and give everybody a chance to say hi and introduce themselves, and also any other channel content or live shows that you guys want to plug real quick at the beginning of the show. So we'll start with we'll go reverse alphabetical order here. So we'll start with Travis P11.
Hey, I appreciate the invite, man. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Just a quick apology. I'm fighting a nasty little head cold, so my voice is kind of coming and going. But make sure you check out my podcast Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. Caliber Corner over on gunchannels.com, 8 a.m. Central Time. Everybody you see here on the panel is over on that podcast, so check it out. Otherwise, check me out on YouTube. My channel's called Travis P11.
All right. Yes, if you haven't checked out Travis P11, then you need to get over there and see some of that cool content. You can find him on Gunstreamer and GunTube.org and Gun Channels, all kinds of fun places. So the hottest toy of the year this fall is going to be the 338 Nerf Pua. And if you haven't checked out his 338 Nerf Pua video, you need to go see that, because that toy is going to just sell like hotcakes, I have a feeling. So all right, next up, if you're available to talk and just say hi, Squib Load.
Yeah, I ran into the maintenance cage. It's still loud back here, but it's not as loud as being on the plant floor. I'll be clocked out in 20 minutes. Hi, I'm Squib. I've got a channel with lame videos. I haven't put out a video in a while. I've just been tied up with so much stuff. I plan to try to get some videos out in December or by January for sure, because then life starts slowing down again and it gets back to normal. I weasel my way into shows pretty much every night of the week. Thanks for letting me weasel onto this one, and hi to everybody out there.
All right. Well, thanks for weaseling in, and we know you're busy for 20 more minutes, so I'll try not to call on you too much until I know you're out of the plant. So we've already had Sandhills Sweetheart say hi, so that brings us over to the great state of Texas. Mr. Jim Burgess, what's going on?
How's it going, man? Thanks for the invite.
Absolutely. Anything cool coming up on your channel and videos coming out, or
one of these days? One of these days, Travis is going to talk me into getting a full-fledged channel going.
You know, I might just have to come down there and we'll get your channel up and running in like a week, man.
There you go.
We'll go hit some barbecue and go hit the range and do some tabletop reviews.
Hey.
You know what got me over the hump, Jim, was it's not that I was opposed to it. Those of you that know me halfway well know that I'm kind of a camera hog and a ham anyway. But what really got me over the hump was when I was hanging out with everybody in Tulsa. And everybody was going live. I'd never gone live, and so I started on my phone. Before the weekend was over, Travis and Matt taught me how to build a Hangouts chat through YouTube on the computer, and it was kind of cool. So the biggest thing I can say is just turning that camera on and just make a dumb live video, and it doesn't even have to be very long, 30 seconds or something, but just play with it, have fun. And from what everybody has told me about some of the stuff I've put up is that, yeah, it might not be professionally produced. It's definitely not edited, any of it. But it's real, and a lot of people like that. And so real is what we're going for. All right. And then last but not least, coming to us from Maryland, we've got the kingpin himself, David Bowling.
Hey, man, I appreciate the invite. I always love a good conversation. And if you guys want to check out my channel, that'd be cool.
There's some good stuff over there. Hey, I was telling Sandhills Sweetheart earlier today about your video about the Taurus Tracker 357. Did you buy that, or did you borrow that for that video?
No, yeah, I bought that from a friend of mine.
Oh, man, if I was in a position to wheel and deal, I'd try to talk you out of it, just so you know.
Well, I'll have it, so if you're ever interested in it, the only person I'd sell it to would be you.
Oh, man, that makes me feel really, really good there. As long as Foos doesn't buy it out from under me. He has a tendency to do that to people, doesn't he, Travis?
That's it. We're over. Yeah. The Saga and the Makarov. Someday I'm going to have it, and it's going to be a glorious tabletop review.
You know what would be even better is if you could buy the one from Foos.
That's what. I could if he ever wants to sell it to me.
Yeah,
I'm going to call him right now. I'm going to call him.
I know it's top of his list of people to sell to. You should always have first option at that Makarov.
Exactly.
And we just had AWAG 1000 join us. So AWAG, what's up, man? What do you have to plug for your channel?
Thank you for the invite, and I'm sorry I'm late. Check out my channel for crazy gun things. I don't honestly know what to call it still. I guess gun stuff with a touch of 90s kid humor. Other than that, check out my channel. Check out everybody else's on the panels before me, because I'm not really that important.
All right.
Well, you think the rest of us are, huh?
Yeah, I think you guys are important because, I'm the young in here, and you guys are the people that I look up to.
Hey,
it's a big responsibility raising you, so yeah.
That's right. It takes a village.
I mean, I failed to crack P11, so yeah.
I'll just give you props for being the next generation of 2A advocate.
Yes, it is very refreshing to see that it's not all a bunch of old guys. We're not all just sitting around going, "Get off my lawn." There is a new generation of shooters coming up, and not just shooters, but AWAG is very good about getting parts kits and building guns from the ground up or from the receiver up. You have some machining experience, if I'm not mistaken. So
Correct.
if you need a part that you don't have, you can build one. That is very cool. That's a skill I haven't got. So so I'm envious of that. So you might look up to some of us just because we've been breathing air longer than you, but some of us look up to you for some of the skills that you've got too. So that's cool.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So welcome. And yeah, we'll let it slide that you're late this time. We won't give you a demerit. It's just that we're going to give 1,000 points to everybody that was here on time. So
Okay.
The former school teacher sitting next to me says that you're going to get a tardy slip if it happens again, though.
There you go. You don't want that. I just want to make the random observation that as of this moment, you have 1,111 subscribers.
I know that. Is that lucky? Should I make a wish?
Oh, you definitely should make a wish.
I actually showed that.
Come on, Powerball.
That happened a couple days ago, and I showed that to Sandhills Sweetheart, and I told her to make a wish. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Thank you, everybody who has subbed to our channel. It's not even my channel; it's our channel, and that's one of the reasons why Sandhills Sweetheart is here tonight with us, because this is as much her baby as it is mine. And I wouldn't be where I am in life or on gun channels or on YouTube without her support. So we do have a couple things we're going to cover. The first up is just going to be a kind of a general update. I know some of you in the panel know what's been going on at our house here recently, and some of you in the panel don't, and a lot of you out there in what should I say, Cyberland, don't know everything that's going on, and it kind of feels like some of you are family. You know, we've got our gun channels family, and so this is kind of our way of just letting everybody know exactly what is happening. So I will let you tell this in your own words, what's been going on, and I'll mute myself while you do that.
So in September, we got some news that we weren't expecting. I was diagnosed with stage 4 lymphoma, and I'd had symptoms for a couple years, just feeling really tired. My doctor's solution to that was go on a low-carb diet and lose some weight. I didn't think that was good enough, so I finally went to a different physician, and she got all the history of to what had happened. It had actually started in 2013 when after working as a waitress, I had a lump show up underneath my arm, and I went and had it checked out, and both my doctor and the surgeon told me that it was nothing to worry about, just an enlarged lymph node. Now I know that it was something to worry about. So yeah, that's where we're at. I've been doing chemotherapy every 4 weeks, and my body does not like the immunotherapy drug called Rituxan. I have an allergic reaction every time we do that. The next scheduled chemotherapy is December 4th and 5th. And they are going to spread out that Rituxan over 2 days instead of doing it just 1 day, hopefully decrease the side effects of that drug.
All right. So yeah, we just wanted to let everybody know what's actually been going on. That was here a few weeks ago. We had to take a week off from 2A Tuesday. Because Sandhills Sweetheart was spending the night, or spent a whole week actually in the hospital, just because she was diagnosed with pneumonia when they put her in, and it was a viral infection. She spent 7 nights and part of 8 days in the hospital, just because her immune system is running ragged right now, between lymphoma and between chemo and immunotherapy and everything else. Her body is trying to adjust to a lot of huge changes right now. So that's what's going on. So those of you who say prayers, we would appreciate if you would include Sandhills Sweetheart in those prayers. And just wanted to update the family as to what's been going on there. So now you have, hold on here.
And our family and friends have been amazing. We've gotten a lot of cards, texts, Facebook messages, donations, friends selling things to get donations for us. So yeah, everybody's been really amazing, and we definitely appreciate all the prayers and thoughts that are sent our way. So thank you.
Let me unmute myself now. So yeah, thank you everybody who's passed those along. All right, so a couple things that we want to talk about here real quick, and include Sandhills Sweetheart in this, and then we're not so much going to go around the horn, but we will let everybody in the panel go ahead and just kind of jump in and comment as we go. Typically, I don't have a real structured format to what we're going to do for the night, but I got a few things that we want to ask Sandhills Sweetheart about. So first off is, unlike myself and unlike a lot of us that are here in the chat, the way that you grew up was a little bit different. You grew up in a house that didn't have guns in the house. You didn't grow up shooting or any of that. So how was that growing up in a house for you that didn't have guns?
It just wasn't part of our lives. I knew guns existed, but there weren't guns in our house. My brother, my father never went out and shot. They didn't hunt. I really didn't have any extended family that did hunting. Unfortunately, any experience that I had revolving around guns was not good. So I grew up not being a fan of guns and the whole hunting community and that lifestyle.
All right, and I know a lot of us around here, especially in the panel, did grow up having guns around or guns in the house and grew up shooting. But is anybody else in the panel, at least those of you that are married, anybody else marry somebody who didn't necessarily grow up in a house with guns?
Yeah, my wife grew up in a single parent home with her mom, and there were no firearms in the home. And when we were dating, we had gone out and shot some skeet, some clay pigeons and stuff, and we had gone to the range a couple times, and she really took a liking to it. And eventually, we got her own firearms and her own handgun, and so yeah, my wife really grew to like it. It was a lot like what Sandhills Sweetheart said. For her, it wasn't even an item that ever really came up ever. There was no dad in the family, so it was just her and mom. Not that mom couldn't have a gun to defend herself, but mom had serious medical issues, so it just never happened. But yeah, a person can, if you see the positive aspect of it and the fun of owning one and the challenge of target shooting, and you can really learn to enjoy one. And then I think the appreciation for the Second Amendment is just going to come along with it. When you see the greater cost for having the firearm, it's just going to come along with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, my wife grew up without guns. She grew up in a household that really was not pro-gun at all. When we were first seeing each other, I let her know there's certain things. Hey, don't ask me to give up. I've been married a couple times before, and I kind of knew better. It wasn't so much I knew what I wanted, as what I knew what I didn't want. And she kind of did the same thing with me. Let me know, hey, don't ever ask me to change on this or that or whatever. But over time, during our relationship, our communication got better and better and better and better. And our love grew deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, even through some of the rough spots and the ups and downs. I think it's because we were older and we'd both been married before and we kind of knew better. Well, I tried to get her into guns, and after about 8 years of being married, I took her out shooting, and I knew better as far as the conditions, but I tried to make the best with what I had. And it really turned her off. So after 8 years of trying to get her to shoot, finally she gave in, and she had a miserable time. And that was all my fault. I regrouped. I got more guns. Definitely have a variety of guns if you want to bring people out and get them into shooting. Don't just have a few or everything you've got is a big tack driver, because that's not going to work for everybody. And after about 12 years of being married, one day she said, let's go to the range together, you and me. Just out of the blue. I attribute that to years and years of communicating, understanding, talking to each other about things that maybe other couples just won't talk about or don't want to address, or after we have an argument, talking it out and making sure that we're on the same page so that argument never happens again, and all the things that we both were getting really good at doing. And it just totally took me by surprise. Just, yeah, let's just go to the range today. And we went out there, and she started off with a 22 long rifle, and in 10 minutes she was shooting 44 Magnum. And everybody found out that she was a new shooter, and everybody's coming up to her being so friendly and giving her pointers. Everybody wants her to shoot their gun. Here, shoot my gun. Here, shoot my gun. And we were there all day long. And when we left, she said two things. She said, I didn't think these people were going to be friendly like this. The other thing she said is, now I see why you're here all day when you go. So now she's got the bug. So it's a good thing. But I can't say that everybody can wait and be patient and hope that their significant other comes around one day and says, hey, look, this is important to you. I want to find out why. I'll at least give it a try. But I will say this. If you don't bring them into an environment that maybe they're a little bit comfortable, or you don't have a firearm that's going to fit in, because we all know what works good for me ain't going to work good for you. That's not even just man to woman. That's just person to person. It's good to have a variety of firearms. Maybe you can go to a place where you can rent them. We've got a place down the street where we can rent them, and you just pay the rental fee by the hour. And you just change out guns all you want. You can, you pay I think it's like $20 an hour, and you just grab a gun, go in the back. If you don't like it, come right back up, go, hey, I want to trade with that. And they don't charge you extra. They just charge you time and ammunition. So, I mean, that's a good way to try to get somebody into it. Although they might get a little bit overwhelmed. All the calibers and actions and all the terminology is overwhelming. But it's like anything you want to get into. At first, it's really confusing. It's fast-paced. It's overwhelming. But after a while, you pick it up, and now you're using terminology. And now you're showing other people, and now you're trash talking. I mean, and that's with anything. It's not just guns. So it's a good experience. Now the whole family goes shooting together. It's great when we're all at the range together, and one of my kids has their AR break down, and she goes, here, shoot mom. I mean, where else can you do that, right? So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so real quick here, I was just kind of watching the YouTube chat go by, and I just want to point out that this is not a matchmaking site. However, apparently you can find out who's single and who's not. But
well, I think we've made a gun connection this evening there, John.
Oh boy.
I think we might have. No. Actually, I'm just teasing. I understand that you're in a relationship, and you just said that. Just so you know, if everything doesn't work out, I could vouch for David. He's a super, super sweet guy. Just saying. Okay, so moving right along.
Damn good looking man. Wait a minute.
Right. That's right.
That was a slip. Sorry.
He's got a heck of a good looking Ruger logo too.
Exactly. It's a man's man right there.
Hashtag no homo.
Straight up. 100% bro. 100% bro.
It's okay to say that David's a good looking fella. It's not okay to hit on David.
I don't ever think I've seen his face. I've only seen his Ruger.
You have to catch David before or after the YouTube broadcast. When all the good chatting goes on one of these Hangouts chats, before we go live or after we stop the live broadcast and we all just kind of hang out. That's sometimes when David will turn on the camera.
Just give you an idea, if you've ever seen that video, Jesse's Girl by Rick Springfield, that pretty much hits a hammer on the head right there. Much better hair. Much better hair, though. Yeah.
Okay. So, so all seriousness aside, anybody who needs to make a love connection or a gun connection, apparently you can hook up on 283.
Gunownersmeet.com.
That's over for Hit or Miss Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock. That's what that show's all about. Making
That's
gun
right.
connections. Yeah.
So okay. So on a more serious note, we'll go back to talking to Sandhills Sweetheart here. She's already made her love connection, and she's not looking. I hope, thank goodness, she's not looking to find anybody else to talk to about guns. Just to learn from a lot of people about some guns, maybe. But you didn't grow up in a house with guns, but somehow your brother got bitten by the bug, and was the one who showed you the first time you shot a gun. It was his, right? So what's it like, number one, having a brother who's been bitten by the bug, and then also meeting me and knowing that, I hunt and I'm into guns and stuff, and it's kind of evolved into, we've got them in the house, and I carry one every place I can. How's that been as far as your journey?
Yeah, my brother, I didn't actually know he was really into guns until we were both home one weekend, and he said, I'm going out to the river to shoot. And he had my nephews with him, so I just rode along. And he had a Raging Judge, I think is the name of the gun. And he was shooting it. I was hanging out with my nephews in the vehicle just to make sure that they were safe. And I told him when he got in, I said, I want to shoot it. And you should have seen the look on his face. He didn't know that I was interested at all. And I really wasn't. I just wanted to say I'd shot it. So my brother is a collector, I think, more than, I don't know what you compare it to, but he shoots a lot too. He shoots a lot, I guess, too. But he has a lot of different guns, unique guns. And that's kind of cool. When I met John, I wasn't into guns. I really didn't care about the Second Amendment. I was kind of turned off by hunting because a lot of the guys that I know would just go out for the kill. Didn't really care if the animals suffered or not. And that angered me because I love animals. When John shot his first deer and I was with him, I was crying and petting the deer after it had died and said it's going to be okay. And so I'm glad that I've learned more about the Second Amendment. I'm learning more about guns, and John's opened my eyes to a lot of different perspectives that I had never been exposed to or even thought about. So same thing with military. I really hadn't, this is awful to say, but I hadn't really given much thought to our military and the sacrifices they make until I met John. And now I have a huge respect for them and can't imagine where our country would be without them. So he's opened my eyes to a lot of different things, and I definitely appreciate that.
And just for the record, I did not serve in the military. I just have huge respect myself for those of you who did. A few of you in the chat here served, and I know there's more out there in the YouTube chat that served our country, or maybe still are. So thank you very much, all of you, for doing that. That's very cool. We wouldn't have our country. We wouldn't be where we are without every man and woman who's worn that uniform and wears it right now. So thank you for that.
Talk about safety.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that has kind of changed and evolved in Sandhills Sweethearts, in her mind, is, not just being, going from neutral or not really caring to being, pro hunting and pro 2A, but in a different life before we met, Sandhills Sweetheart taught school, and her education is in education. She's got a master's in education, and so she's a school teacher at heart. That's not what she does right now, but after the rash of incidents that have happened, not just in schools, but especially in the schools where criminals have gone in and used a gun to shoot people within a school. We've talked about some of the stuff that I think that everybody's talked about, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, and that's not what this chat's about. But as an educator or someone who's been in the education system, I wanted to give Sandhills Sweetheart an opportunity to sound off there too on school safety, on guns in schools, whether it be armed security guards or armed teachers. What can we do, or what would you like to see or not like to see happen to keep these kids safe?
Before I talk about the school thing, another thing I wanted to mention about since meeting John and him getting his carry license, I feel a lot safer being around him, knowing that, if it came to it, he could protect us. And if somebody broke into our home and I was by myself, I could also protect myself and our home if it needed be. I know how to pick up the gun and shoot it. So that's nice to have that reassurance that if necessary, I could take care of the situation, and also that John would handle the situation if he's around. So as far as safety in schools, it was right after Columbine, and I was teaching my first class. That was my first group of kids, and the kids were really worried about what would happen if somebody broke into our school and what we would do. And of course, it was a Catholic school. We had no security whatsoever. There were no buzz-in to the school or anything like that. We didn't have a security guard there. Most of the time, it was just 4 women teachers in the building and a secretary, janitors, and cooks, which were all female. And none of us, as far as I know, had any kind of training to defend the kids other than just hide. And I told the kids that we would go through the normal procedures of locking the door. And one kid in particular asked me if I would stand in front of the door to protect them. And of course, my answer was yes, but I look back at that situation now and how different the situation would have been if I would have been able to have a carry weapon in that situation. And I'm all in favor of having teachers that have been trained, obviously, to utilize guns in schools and protect the kids and the faculty. I don't know if we'll ever see it happen, but I think it would be a good thing.
Is there anything you would say to an educator who might say, I couldn't do it? Even if all 30 students and myself were at risk, I just couldn't do it.
I'd have them look at it from, I guess, the perspective of that kid that looked at me and said, what are you going to do to protect us? How do you tell a 9-year-old that I wouldn't do anything to protect you?
I had this conversation with an educator and was trying to explain the reason why I think that if the faculty had a fighting chance, it's better than no chance at all. And that's based on my military experience. And she said, I know, but I just couldn't kill another human being. And I said, you got 30 kids in there that are counting on you. After he kills you, he's going to kill, or she, I guess, right? Whoever comes in there is going to kill all of them. You're dead now and it's all over. This is not an easy thing for somebody to think about when they have to go into work and they have to make a good learning environment for these kids that are our future. You don't want to think about something like that. Unfortunately, with our schools, the security is so lax. It's awful. Even some of these schools that have the front doors that are locked, there's so many different ways in. It's it's scary as a parent. I'm sure it's scary as an educator, but I tried to have a serious talk with her and said, look, I'm not telling you that you need to get a gun or a concealed carry permit. What I'm saying is, if some of the people there were allowed to, it would be better than having nobody there. It's no guarantee, but it's a lot better chance than nothing at all. And she just said, I just couldn't do it. And I'm thinking, in the moment of truth, when you've got the scared 9-year-olds there with you, I think that everybody has something inside of them that they can pull out. It's something you got to live with the rest of your life. But what if you do nothing and you do survive? You do wake up in the hospital and they said all the kids were lost, but we were able to save you. You got to live with that the rest of your life too. And I know this is kind of probably not, this is probably a little bit deep for the show, but when you're talking about this, it just reminded me of that conversation I had.
Well, this is I think it does need to go deep. We're talking about kids' lives and what can we do to help them. So I think that was an excellent point that you said, well, what if somebody else in the school is able to do it and would be willing to go through the training and licensing to be able to do it? I don't know if, I've always wondered if I could actually kill another human being, but I think if people I care about were at danger, I think I could.
Well, and I've told Sandhills Sweetheart this before. I don't know if I've ever said this on chat before, but ever since I got my concealed carry permit, I've thought at length of different scenarios, and that it goes back to raising your situational awareness, right? What would you do if you're sitting in the restaurant and somebody walked in and decided to hold the place up, or just for no reason whatsoever start pulling a trigger? Where are the exits? Do you sit with your back to the door? Do you sit where you can face the whole room? Things like that. I've thought about different scenarios where I would be forced to actually draw my concealed carry piece and use it in defense. And every scenario that I've thought about, every dream that I've ever had, nightmare, whatever you want to call it, that happens is an instant where she's there. And I think about, reaching and putting her behind me, putting myself between danger and her, and using my handgun to protect her, keep her safe, or get us, get her out of a bad situation, what have you. It's never just me. I honestly don't know what would happen if I didn't have someone else there to protect. Would I draw or not? Would I get shot or take that chance? I don't know. I haven't thought about that near as much as I have of, I don't have a choice but to keep my family safe. And, I think that as a husband, I think there's just a mandate as a husband, as a protector. And for those of you who are single parents, as a father or as a mother, even if there's two parents, you have that mandate to protect your children. As a teacher, I think that it's some level there's a mandate there to protect your students, right? You don't have to be a hall monitor to tell the kid running through the hall, stop, slow down, don't run. We have that rule for safety. We keep everybody safe because you don't trip and fall or whatever if you don't run. I think that everyone who's in a position of authority, and teachers are definitely in a position of authority, I think that along with that authority comes responsibility, and protection is part of that, right? So I think that it's inherent in having a classroom full of students. It's your job to keep them all safe while they're in your care, but not everybody agrees with us. Travis, I know you had a comment out there in the chat. I'll just give you a chance to sound off. I know you've talked about this at length too.
Oh yeah.
I won't make you get into it too much, but is there anything that you would care to add to any of this?
Everything that Sandhills Sweetheart is right on the money. Same thing with Squib when he talks about the design of the buildings. Schools, you've got narrow hallways, you've got lots of kids, you've got, unfortunately, lots of targets that are available in a short period of time, which is why these things happen. you've got a teacher that's supposed to be on the hallway between the classes. What better way to stop that threat than to arm the teacher? And I'm not opposed to having armed veterans that can work as security. I'm not opposed to having more police officers in the school. I think it's great. But there are so many variables that a gunman could get into school that unless your school was set up like Fort Knox, it's about impossible to prevent somebody from just coming in with a firearm, shooting out a glass door and walking in and opening fire during lunch, right? So, and the funny part is anybody that's ever been an opponent of allowing teachers to carry in the classroom, I say to them, I'm like, listen to this. Okay, I said, if there is a kid that opens fire in that hallway and your kid's in that hallway, do you want me to stop him? And then they try to say, well, I don't think you should arm every teacher. I'm like, no. Answer my question. Do you want me to stop him? Well, yeah. Then what's the problem with letting me do that? That's the way I feel about it. And I'm not trying to be trigger happy, but it's all about self-preservation. You feel like a sitting duck when you're 100% disarmed. And again, our state law doesn't allow teachers to carry on campus. It only allows authorized, law enforcement personnel, military, etc. And I've had a discussion with a representative from the Nebraska Department of Ed that came out and did a school security survey with us. And, she wasn't on board with my ideas, the idea of allowing a teacher to conceal carry. And she said, well, your odds of this happening are pretty slim. I said, and when the odds are not in my favor, then what? Well, just lock your door because the odds show that, studies show that you have a better chance of preventing somebody from coming in your class if your door's locked. Okay, but there's a glass window next to my door. You shoot it out, you come right in. Then what? It's a lose-lose situation. So when I go to work every day, I don't go to work with the thoughts of something happening to me. I have thought in my mind, what am I going to do if something happens? What's the best defense I could possibly have? I try to run through my mind what I would do. It's not an easy situation, especially for me. I'm 25 feet from the door. It's like, do we hunker down and go into lockdown mode like the school wants us to, or do I get my kids out of that building? Which could be even more riskier, to be honest with you. But it's not easy. But I've always tried to keep those. And honestly, I never had those thoughts about a gunman in our school until more of the school shootings have been happening. Then there's that reality that this could happen in my lifetime. So what do I do? Nebraska's tried to pass laws on that before. They tried to do it back in 2014. We've had a few school shootings in Nebraska, and it's been shot down. So it's ridiculous. If I can conceal carry in Walmart on Black Friday, when there's more people per square foot, anywhere else in the public, why can't I do it in a school?
And if there's ever a place where there's going to be a fight break out and you need to defend yourself, Walmart on Black Friday would be right up there as far as being maybe
robberies or somebody just going postal on you. It's ridiculous.
Or even at this, if there's ever a place that might be a bad idea to carry a gun, for the most of us, we'll all keep a cool head. And if somebody swings a punch, we don't draw a gun and shoot them. But, if there's ever a place for somebody to leave their gun home so that nothing escalates, Black Friday at Walmart would be a place. But it's totally legal as a concealed carrier to, with the permit, I should say, to carry that gun when you're doing your shopping at Walmart on Black Friday. But yet it's not legal for a teacher who is also a legal concealed carrier to carry that gun and protect his or her students at work. So yeah, I've always shaken my head at that. Why is it that the state trusts you at Walmart, but they don't trust you in a school full of kids?
And I can tell you, as a facilities maintenance technician, the locks on the doors, the light kits on the doors, a lot of that stuff, even the electric locks, all that stuff is easily defeated. It doesn't take much. I'm not going to explain how. Some of you probably already know how, but a lot of that stuff is easily defeated. You can put cameras up. That's great. That's great for after action. You can put alarms on the doors. That's great for after hours when nobody's in the building, but when it's occupied, the alarm's off. So there's a lot of things that are there that make people think they're safe, but working in the field where you repair, install, maintain these sort of systems, it's not much to defeat them.
Well, and over here in the YouTube chat, Sarge C4 Defense has joined us. So welcome, Sarge. I know that you are on patrol tonight, so I think I sent you out a link, and if you want to jump in, you're welcome. There's room for you, and if you're busy, that's cool. So we'll just we'll take your wisdom in the chat. But one of the things that Sarge had said over there is that average one person killed or wounded every 15 seconds during an active shooter situation. And Sarge works full time in law enforcement, and if there's anybody who's going to have, you know, the experience, the knowledge that a law enforcement officer is going to have, Sarge, in my understanding, has been doing this a long time. And so if you go to Sarge's channel, watch some of his videos, or catch him in anybody else's live chat, he's got a good head on his shoulders. He thinks things through, and he's seen a lot of things that I know that he just assumed he wouldn't have had to see over the years in the line of duty. So getting statistics from Sarge, I think we can pretty well trust those. And again, with no disrespect intended, I fully respect law enforcement, not just the ones that I'm friends with. But, you know, the old saying, when seconds matter, the police are only minutes away, right? Because they're human. They can't be everywhere at once. They're not Superman or Superwoman as much as we wish they were. But that'd be cool because they'd be bulletproof too. But
even with that, though, there's protocols. When you enter the building, you're going for the threat. So if you see people in the hallway that are bleeding out, you step over them and you keep going until you get to that threat. And somebody may say, that's cold. That's cold. You know, you think once they're in the building, everybody's life is safe. No, there may be people that die of their injuries because they're not going to let the paramedics in there, and they have to go after that threat, because as long as that threat is there, there's going to be more casualties. And it's a cold thing to think of, and it's an awful thing to think of. And you got to think about that officer having to go home that night and realizing how many people he stepped over that were begging for help while he's trying to save more lives. And he's got to find out how many of them didn't make it. And so there are a lot of things to really consider. And having an armed presence in the school that could be the difference between a situation like that or not.
Absolutely. And the point that I was drawing to there is, it's clear that in an active shooter situation like that, seconds really do count. I mean, every 15 seconds on average, there's one person wounded or killed. You know, so if it takes 10 minutes for police to respond to the scene, you know, 10 minutes times 4 people a minute, that's potentially 40 people on average have the shooter has an opportunity to hurt. So and 10 minutes is a pretty fast response, I would think. So so Sarge, I see you did join us. Do you have anything that you'd care to add? And welcome, and you can just introduce yourself if you like.
Oh, like I said, I appreciate the invite, and yeah, I'll stay on here for a few minutes if I can. But like you were just like I was saying, and like you were saying, is 10 minutes is a long time. 5 minutes is a long time. That's 20 people, and that's a pretty good average. And there's a trend right now is, if you look back at a lot of the active shooters, a lot of the casualties could have been saved with the simple application of a tourniquet, that they slowly bled to death. And there's a shift in getting first responders into the warm zone, because once law enforcement goes in, it doesn't matter whether it's 1, 2, or 3. You don't wait on anybody. If there's shots being fired, you go stop the threat. And odds are you're going to stop the threat, because they're out to hurt as many people as possible, and they don't know where you're coming from. So you should have a tactical advantage. You should be able to stop them. Statistically, they shut down when dealing with confrontation. They're either, you know, taken into custody, or they lose a gun battle pretty quick, or take their own lives. But that now goes from the hot zone to the warm zone, because very small percentage, you know, of a chance that there's going to be a second person. Typically it's only one, like 98% of the time, I think. So there's a trend now that you've got to get first responders into the warm zone so these people don't slowly bleed to death. And that's why the Stop the Bleed campaign is so popular, because it's getting people to understand that you have to be prepared for this, and they're getting tourniquets in schools and being ready for this. So that's just my side of it.
That's good news, Sarge. Thanks for bringing that up. I haven't been briefed by law enforcement on that in about 2 years, so it's good to hear that they're moving that direction.
Yeah, they're definitely moving that direction. I know that just my local county they've had some seminars, and they've received funding for tourniquets and gotten some people on each floor. You know, I mean, I guess they try to get everyone certified, or at least, excuse me, not certified, but trained and exposed on how to properly apply one. Even if it's, hey, I'm serious, even if it's improperly applied, it's better than not being applied at all. And because, and like you said before, when seconds count, the police are minutes away, and that's just the reality of it. You know, because just think about if you were 3 blocks away from your school and you had to get out of your car and run into the gym, how long would that be? Even if you're just 3 blocks away, it's going to take minutes. So that's the whole purpose of having people there that can try to stop the situation. The whole purpose of it.
Exactly. And that's, you know, that's if one officer or one deputy just happens to be in the neighborhood and can get there within a couple, you know, it's only a few blocks away. And that's one person charging in and assessing the situation on the fly, which I know that you get trained to do that, but, you know, you would much rather, if you had your druthers, Sarge, I'm sure, you'd much rather go in with a team and a game plan, and you don't always get that option.
There is no game plan.
Right.
The game plan is to make the guy stop shooting.
Neutralize the threat as quickly as possible. I get that.
And there's no waiting. There's no getting your plate carrier out. There's none of that. Because while someone is stopping and putting on their plate carrier, that's going to take 30 to 45 seconds. There's 3 more people. You have to bail out, run in with your handgun and however many mags you have. If you could grab your rifle as you're pulling up and on the way there, get it out, that's great. But if not, you bail out and you go, because they're not prepared. This is a fantasy to them. They're not prepared for the reality when bullets start coming their way. They're not prepared for a fight.
Which is the only good news I can think of in a situation like that. Is
the majority are not prepared for a fight.
Those of you who are prepared have the tactical advantage.
If they want to ambush you and they want to set up and have a gunfight, if they want to ambush you, they're going to win. They're going to win, because we're going to run right into an ambush. That's just what we signed on for. You're either going to be a hero or there's going to be a school named after you. One or the other.
Yeah.
That's good to hear you say it like that. That's what we signed on for. Because, I mean, that's the way I felt when I was active duty in the military. This is what I signed on for. It's not that you want it. It's not that you don't want to go home that night. But this is what you sign up for. And so for the people who aren't willing to do that, I don't think that they should pick that as a career choice. But, I mean, there's people like that in law enforcement and military no matter what. But I'm glad that you have that ethic, Sarge, that, you know, you realize that this is something that you hope you never have to do, but you signed up for it.
Well, my lieutenant, one of my first lieutenants, he's passed away now, but that's one of the first things he told me. He said, and that was even before they shifted to not waiting on backup, and they hadn't shifted to going in. He said, if something happens at a school or a church or, you know, any type of scenario, he said, you go in and stop them. He said, you're either going to be a hero or there's going to be a school named after you. So he was absolutely right.
Ashley had said this earlier in the chat, and I fully agree. And I think I can speak for Sandhills Sweetheart as well. But it's not just the men and women in the military who are heroes. Those of you that put the uniform on and keep us safe here within our own borders are heroes as well. And yeah, to hear somebody say that, you know, you signed on to be that guy, you know, somebody's got to go in there. Somebody's got to stop that criminal. And you're that guy, Sarge. And so from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for being willing to be that guy. And all of law enforcement across the country, just as brave, those men and women as the ones that are wearing the red, white, and blue and protecting us overseas and protecting our borders too. So thank you, Sarge.
Well, I appreciate it, but I've got a lot of guys out here that do this with me, so it's not me. I just go out and do a job.
Sure. Yep. And I'm glad you're doing the job that you do. I can have the job that I have that way. So nobody shoots at me, hopefully. So, yeah. So that's kind of most of what we were going to talk with Sandhills Sweetheart about. Going back to talking about the health problems and things like that. I know you have a Facebook page that you wanted to talk about and share with everybody. I will let you tell everybody about that, and I will go and find that link and post it over in the chat, so people can find that real quick while you're talking.
We did start a Facebook page. It's called Living with Lymphoma, and John, like you said, will find that link and post it for everybody. If you want to join, you can. It has updates basically about my treatment and just other stuff that I post, I guess, about if I find a picture or something about lymphoma. I've been trying to post if anybody sends us gifts or something like that. My grandmother gave me flowers last week, so I posted a picture of that. So yeah, if you guys would like to join that group and follow my journey through this, that would be great.
All right, and I've almost got that shared here. Maybe if I can find this. I don't think I'm sharing it the right way. You know what?
I beat you to it.
Somebody did it?
I think I beat you to it.
Well, look at you go. You're cool. I'm glad I gave you a wrench. You just saved me the trouble. Look at that. Jim Burgess has it out there. Thanks, Jim. Well, I'll come back to the chat now then and see what everybody else sees. So AWAG had said he had to drop out. It was already 11 o'clock. Of course, he's in that wrong time zone where it's already 11. So AWAG, if
No, we're just ahead of you. We're more advanced.
Something. I don't know. The world doesn't revolve around you, though. So AWAG, if you catch this later, or if you're still listening, thanks for joining us. Always a pleasure to have you join us. Calaveras has been sitting in the panel for a while now, not saying anything. We haven't really given you a chance to talk much. So Tactical Pickle, what's up, man?
Oh, not much. Sorry, I had just barely gotten home when I jumped on the panel. But I did hear when you guys were talking about what was going on with you there, sweetheart. And I'm really sorry for you guys on that.
Well, thank you. All right. So yeah, anybody that wants to go be a part of that group on Facebook, go ahead and go check that out. And we do have some very good friends of ours had some koozies made up, and I don't have it with me in here right now, but you can go see on the Facebook page there, on that Living with Lymphoma page, you can see the koozies, and you can get in contact with the people who had those made up too, if anybody wants to put an order in for one of those, and I'm sure they will trade address info with you, so you can get a koozie for yourself. And then I had Tardot make up a few bracelets too, which we've already sold out of, or they're all spoken for. So once I get a few more of these, there's the camera, made up, I will once I get some of these paid for, I should say, then I will send some more money over to Tardot and have him make a few more of these up. But these are the parachute cord bracelets that Tardot makes, and then lime green is the color of the ribbon to support non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So he wove a green ribbon into the bracelet. These have a nice little plastic buckle on them, and if anybody wants to purchase a bracelet or a koozie, just get in touch with us or through Facebook there, and we will work on getting another order placed there. We could maybe swamp Tardot with some bracelet orders, so that'd be cool too. Those of you that want bracelets, if you don't have Facebook, you can just send us an email at sandhillsshooter@gmail.com. I have put that out before, but I will throw that in here right now too. Like I said, I can't type and talk at the same time. So there's the email address if you guys want to let us know. So
another thing that we've been doing on the Facebook page since lime green is the color for the type of cancer that I'm fighting. If you ever see lime green, take a picture of it and post it up there. Just another way to say you're thinking about us, and it's kind of cool to see what everybody posts that's lime green.
Yeah, the intent of letting everybody know about this, it has zero to do with e-begging. I just I know that everybody has been very supportive of everything that we've done here on our channel, and so I wanted Sandhills Sweetheart to get the support and get the love that you all have shown to me when I've been live here. So if we can get from all ends of the country and maybe even outside the country, if you see something lime green, it doesn't have to be a ribbon. It might be a flower planter. I think I posted a picture of a flower planter here a while back. Just anything. Mountain Dew bottle is a pretty good example too. But show off that lime green and just let Olivia know that you're thinking of her. So Ellis has joined us. Mr. Outlaw Hatfield, what is up, sir?
How are you guys doing?
Man, we're cool, man. We're just hanging out with my wife. Sandhills Sweetheart is in the panel with us tonight. We've just been talking about some of her perspectives of guns and whatnot, how they've kind of changed and morphed over the years, and she shared with the world. She is currently fighting with a non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, marginal cell lymphoma it's called. I guess there's about 80 different kinds of lymphoma, so it's they're all similar and they're all different. So anything you care to plug on your channel, sir?
No, not really. I mean, I just had a Travi badmouth at me a little bit, so I figured I better jump in here and defend myself.
What did Midnight Range say to you now?
No, it was you.
What did Travis T say to you?
Something about the world being flat and
yeah, it's at the center.
Yeah,
yeah, you're off to the right a little bit, so you're not at the center. Their center means the middle. Everything else comes from the middle. So.
Ladies and gentlemen, do not listen to a word a Travis says. They all lie.
I don't understand why it's such a hard concept for you. It's the central time zone. It's in the middle. All right.
You're living in the past.
Well, okay,
no, I'm not. You're living in the future, and it hasn't happened yet.
If we're the center, then Yankee clearly is left of center, but you are right of center, and I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing.
Not at all.
That would make me very right of center, doesn't it?
Oh, I'm laughing at your comment there in the chat, Sarge. Ellis, did you want to show us on the doll exactly where the Travi Collective hurt you?
Yeah.
I was actually going to say, show us on the globe where the Travi hurt you.
Yeah, well, it's a flat globe. They don't have them in the stores yet, but they're coming. They'll be in Target next fall.
I thought it was more.
The Travi have pretty much eliminated any chance of going to Palmetto State Armory ever.
Yeah, they're illegal in Palmetto. They're not allowed.
Oh, really?
You need to put a circle / sign on the front door, Ellis.
But you took my money 12 times last year, and you didn't say anything about it. What kind of relationship is that, Ellis?
Hey.
I'll just keep going through GunTube, and they can get my money for PSA.
As long as you don't show up in the shop, we will send you shit.
Dude, I might just show up in the shop. You never know what's going to happen.
We keep it clean here.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's okay. I give everybody a warning before I boot you. So
I caused it. I keep poking the honey bear.
Quit poking the bear. Also, a late addition or a latecomer to the panel here. We've got everybody's favorite tactical rooster, our neighbor to the south of us. Gizzard Gary is here. What's up, bud?
Oh, just coming in, I figured the Central Time Zone needed a little bit more representation, especially with the Outlaw Hatfield on the panel. I didn't want it to tilt to one side any. So.
Yeah,
Look at this, Ellis. They brought in reinforcements.
Strength the numbers, brother. Strength the numbers.
That's right.
I got Sarge. I don't need any more reinforcements.
Yeah, but we've got our ballast point, our anchor point, clear out there behind enemy lines in California. So we've got the California Cuke out there.
Yeah, we got the bird too. So
plus we got.
Well, now he's in the Pacific time zone, and I'm kind of down with that. So it's either Eastern or Pacific, but everything in the middle's confused. That's all.
No. In his mind, he's Central Time Zone.
It's sort of like being in a sheep. You know, you ever put a ball in the sheep? In the sheet, all the crap runs to the center. So.
Oh dear, it's getting deep over here now. All right, so yeah, Ashley, I think to answer your question out there, you might be the only one coming to us from the Mountain Time Zone. We don't have anybody in the panel representing Mountain Time Zone.
You know, it's only 90 miles west of me, though. I could be there in an hour and a half. So.
I know. Yeah, you could. Yeah, but there's only 2 people that live in the time zone anyhow, so that's why you don't have any other representation.
Steven, are you still with us? Because I believe you're clear out past the. Yeah, there you are. You're in the Mountain Daylight Zone. I was thinking you're out there getting close to that Panhandle country. So, all right. Well, we are gonna, I think, kind of wrap it up maybe a little bit earlier than we have in the past couple of weeks. I just wanted to thank everybody for joining us, and again, like I said, wanted to give Sandhills Sweetheart a chance to come in and talk. And I think if we can find a few more topics that that interest her more than just talking about guns and dumb gun legislation that we're seeing might pass and whatnot, I think we might get her to join us more often too. So you will you'll see a few topics come through. Like I said, even though we call it 2A Tuesday, it won't necessarily always be 100% geared towards 2A stuff. It'll be kind of whatever else we can think of, and whatever not just myself, but whatever Sandhills Sweetheart wants to talk about too. So we'll try to keep it fresh. And for the most part, you guys have maybe noticed this, but a lot of the live shows kind of have a format, you know, an order of events and a few talking points that they're going to go down. And we kind of did that tonight. But for the most part, I like that format, and I like the shows that I see that I get to watch, you know, every week that do that. But also, I think it's kind of refreshing, and I hope everybody else does too, the way that sometimes here we'll start the ball rolling one direction, and we don't know where it's going to end up. You know, we might start off talking about this, and we'll get clear over, you know, go down a rabbit hole and talk about something completely different, you know, before the night's over, and just kind of let the chat, excuse me, just naturally go where it goes. And I like that. I let that happen intentionally, as intentional as we can be anyway, with letting the chat just do kind of whatever it wants to. But I like the fact that you know, we can kind of just get off on a tangent, and then we just keep it going, and the discussion stays lively. And hopefully everybody who watches this either live or on replay enjoys that as well, and gets some good out of the chat. So maybe we'll bring a perspective that somebody hasn't thought of before, and that's kind of what we're all about, right? We're not looking to change minds. We're just looking to share a perspective and maybe plant a seed, you know, and maybe that mind will get changed later on. So real quick here, we will let everybody go through and kind of wrap up and give any closing comments. And again, any plugs you want to give or things you want to say before we go. So we will start and go the other direction. So Calaveras, we'll start with you out there.
I appreciate the invite. You know, even though I got in late and I didn't have a whole lot to contribute tonight. As for plugs, you know, just I'm trying to shift my focus to a little bit less YouTube, more over to Gunstreamer and GunTube. And I'm looking to potentially, you know, try to, you know, get my own live show set up, maybe do a bi-weekly instead of a weekly. But other than that, you know, pretty much the same old over here.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. And next up, we will talk to Mr. David. Any closing thoughts, sir?
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a really good conversation. I love a good conversation, and I was glad to be able to sit back and listen to it.
Awesome, and always a pleasure to have you. And I know I've said this before, but for those of you that don't know, David has been one of the people who's been with me the longest, as far as when I would just turn on the camera when I was driving down the road and just talk about nothing at all. And for whatever reason, David watched almost every time, and now you've kind of started making your own videos, and you're joining in on. I see you on a lot of shows throughout the week, so that's really cool. I'm glad that you are developing the content more and more all the time. So thanks for doing that, David. All right, Mr. Gizzard.
Well, I haven't really been on here long enough to promote myself, so let me promote you. I think everybody who's watching this needs to like, share, and subscribe to Sandhills Shooter, Sandhills Sweetheart. If you're not a member of Gun Channels, consider joining. It's a great community. Also, check out guntube.org and Gunstreamer. All my videos now get released to Gunstreamer before they get released anywhere else. I encourage others to do the same, and give them the bird. Thanks for the invite.
Give them the bird. And I tell you what, if you won't plug your channel, I will. Go to Gizzard Gary and check out Gary's videos, because this guy has his head screwed on straight, and I can tell you, I've met Gary in person. We hung out down in Tulsa. Gary's a good guy, and the videos that you make, sir, those are good videos. So go check that out. Don't just give him the bird. Give him a thumbs up while you're watching his videos, would you? Because he deserves them.
Appreciate it.
All right, down in the great state of Texas, Mr. Jim.
Thanks for the invite. Glad to be here. Keep praying for you and your wife both.
And we appreciate it. We'll take all the prayers that we can get.
People say they're not worth anything, but I respectfully disagree.
Well, you know, when there's a tragedy, people want more than just prayers and good thoughts. But I tell you what, we believe in the power of prayer in this house. And so those of you that offer prayers up, we will take them, and we will take them with gratitude. All right, C4 Defense, Sarge. Any closing words?
I appreciate the invite. If you haven't already checked out my channel, go ahead and check it out. Sub if you like what you see. I've got a video I filmed today on my everyday carry, and then I'm going to do a little series of small videos on how I turn it into something just a little bit more that suits me, but still keeping, liability in place without trying to modify anything internally. But I definitely appreciate the invite.
Awesome. And your viewpoint and your experience are always appreciated and always welcome here. All right, Squib Load from the great state of Michigan.
Thanks for the invite, as usual, and everybody out there, just Thanksgiving.
All right, you're kind of roboting a little bit, but I think I heard you say Happy Thanksgiving to everybody, so that was cool.
I'm outside.
Oh, there you are. You're getting a little better there. So thanks for joining.
What happens is when I walk into the house, I have to go on Wi-Fi. When I walk outside the house, I'm on data. So when I'm driving home from work, I'm on data. So I forgot to switch to Wi-Fi. I could hear you loud and clear, but on the other end, I'm roboting. Yeah, so I don't even remember what I said. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
And happy Thanksgiving to you. Ellis, Outlaw Hatfield. Any final thoughts?
Hey, brother. Thanks for the link. You know what? You're in my thoughts. You're in my prayers, man. With this community, it comes together in tragedy more than anywhere else in the world. And we've seen that time and time again. When one of us has a problem, it don't matter which one, we all come together and we all support. That's the thing you don't hear about the 2A community. We are a very tight-knit group, and we do support each other, so we got you back in everything, brother.
Absolutely appreciate it. And yeah, you're right. It's we might waste a lot of time arguing, Glock 1911, FN or whatever. But at the end of the day, we're all family, and sometimes family squabbles. But you're right. We all got each other's back, so it's good to be part of this family. All right, Travis P11.
Yeah, man, appreciate the invite. Thank you so much, guys. Check out everybody on this panel this evening. Make sure you get over to gunchannels.com. Get over there and get yourself signed up for an account. Get over to guntube.org. Otherwise, guys, check out Caliber Corner Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Central Time. I will have a podcast this Saturday coming up, and hopefully I won't be sick. So stay tuned. It's going to be a good episode.
All right. Yeah, Travis has some cool videos. Like I said, he's got that 338 Nerf Pua video that you should go back and revisit. Also, go find his video that I got to be part of about buying a Gatling gun. Check that one out too. That's a great video. And then and then last, certainly not least, the panelist who has my heart, Sandhills Sweetheart. Any final thoughts?
Well, thanks everybody for listening to me tonight. And I don't know any of you personally. Like, haven't met you guys or anything, but we talk about you around here like you are family. So I am looking forward to hopefully meeting you all in April. Have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
All right. And I know a few people here on the panel don't do Facebook, but most everybody who's in this panel tonight, I am Facebook friends with, and you guys are all cool. You guys are awesome. So thanks everybody for joining us. I am Sandhills Shooter, and this is, of course, my channel. This has been 2A Tuesday. You can check this out on replay on YouTube if you want to, but you can also find us on Gun Channels. It should, hopefully it'll automatically upload to Gunstreamer too. I do have that turned on, I think, on my channel on Gunstreamer, so everything should automatically go to Gunstreamer from now on. And if you haven't checked out that platform, you need to do that. I'm not just saying that because Ashley's in the chat and she's taller than me either. So go check out that platform. Also, you can find this on guntube.org. And, one of the things that I had mentioned before I jumped out of Hit or Miss earlier tonight, Tuesday night, 9 o'clock Eastern, is that if you're going to share this video or any video, go find it on GunTube, guntube.org, and share that link, or share it, the Gunstreamer link, or share the link from Gun Channels. Don't just share the YouTube link. I think on my my Facebook page, Sandhills Shooter, I think I'll stop sharing just the YouTube side. We want to promote awareness for these other platforms and grow them, and I think that's a great way to do it. Is let's share those links instead. Excuse me. So go check that out, and then you can also find us on YouTube. You can find us on Patreon, and that is also a great way to support the channel if you want to become a patron there as well. So patreon.com/Sandhills Shooter. So thanks everybody. If you liked this, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. If you didn't like us, you can give us that thumbs down, but leave a comment and let us know why. And then if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please do that. Also, click that little notification bell after you click subscribe, and that'll let you know every time we go live, because we'll try to do this every Tuesday night, 9 o'clock Central Time, barring any unexpected hospital stays or things like that. But you never know when I'll be driving down the road and I'm by myself and I'm bored. And I'll just kick the camera on and we'll just hang out and talk about nothing. So you can get a notification every time that happens. So thank you, everybody, and have a happy Thanksgiving all. And this has been 2A Tuesday. So nobody's here to say it. So we'll say shall not be infringed. Gary, anything you want to throw out before we go?
Give him the bird.
Give him the bird. Also, we've got to remember this one, right? So, bye, Felicia. And what is it in Spanish, Travis?
Adios, Felicia.
Adios, Felicia.